Tonight is all about poultry. I'll cook some chicken, I'll cook some turkey, and I'll even teach you how the stock market can work for you.
How's your portfolio?
It's looking pretty good right now. I'm diversified. I had the good fortune of visiting some friends in northern Italy this summer. My friend Andrea made this dish for me. And it struck me because wild rice. It was a complete meal and it used turkey. Now, as Americans, I feel like we really only eat turkey at Thanksgiving, or it always has turkey with gravy. This was light turkey. It was so cool. We can get the wild rice going. I'm gonna do the 2-to-1 method. So there's 1 cup, so twice as much water as wild rice. Bring that to a boil and let's get started on the other stuff. Now, first thing, capers. Love them. Taste of the sea. They've got an amazing umami and complexity. You have to buy the ones with salt. You just soak them in water, all right? You just let them sort of, I don't want to say rehydrate. The salt crystals will dissolve a little bit and then we can put it through China can. This is gonna go in with our wild rice. It's gonna give it a nice crunch. It's gonna make it nice and fresh. There you've got your celery and capers. The rice is boiling. I'm gonna cover this. Some plastic wrap down. Sort of cheat the system by throwing some water underneath. That'll make it stick. See that? All right, so this is a turkey breast, boneless, that I got at the farmer's market. One person's gonna get the lucky end here and get the skin. So why don't we come in this way here and have it. Four and a half nice pieces, 2 with some skin. Wash your hands. Here's another piece of plastic wrap. This is gonna make it easier to cook all the way through because we're thinning it out. It's also gonna tenderize the meat. Not that it's gonna be tough. Salt. Generous amount. Now I know I look kind of funny when I'm salting up high, but the truth is that longer fall lets it spread out more evenly rather than having clusters of intense salt. No egg wash. We're just gonna do a light flouring on it. Just use one hand here so you have a clean hand that you can still grab stuff with. And you flip it over. So I'm gonna use the salt with the other hand, okay? Same deal. Here comes the flour again. Here comes some olive oil. Now we really need a good amount here. Here we go. It's looking nice and good. Always away from you so it splatters. Looks like that's all we're gonna fit for right now. That's fine. So let's rinse our capers. Nice sear on that. Pull this guy off. Not looking to fully cook it right now. Just want to get the sear. Just spoon off that extra oil, okay? Now, capers on. Get some white wine. All right, this is helping us bring the temperature of the pan down. You ever wonder what the flat end of the spoon is for? It's for scraping the bottom there, getting all that brown stuff off, okay? With the liquid. Pieces of zest here. Go like that. Throw that in. Nice heaping tablespoon of Dijon mustard. I think this is gonna cook really, really well with white wine. It's gonna give us a nice, luxurious, velvety finish. Add some more white wine. Let's put the lemons in the middle. That's the hottest part of the pan. Make sure we have a liquid, and now we'll cover it. Put this on low. All right, so our turkey has been steaming just for about 10 minutes. Throw in our celery into the wild rice. Okay, either juice or zest. I'm gonna go with the zest here. Huge difference. Put the rice down. Turkey breast like that. And you can just take a little caper and some sauce there. Pieces of lemon. You see the whole lemon skin right there? I love that. It's time to take a coffee break. So let's go visit my friend Elizabeth, who runs Unimatic Coffee right here in New York, and see if caffeine can cancel out all that tryptophan. What's the deal with this percolator?
Okay.
Tell me.
So,
Ooh.
it is 50 years old.
Wow.
And it's one of 5,000. My dad came here from Italy when he was 14, hated American coffee. Actually said it tastes like dishwater. Like, I don't know what you people are doing. This is awful. This is a terrible idea.
I agree with him.
So there needed to be a new way to make it. So this was kind of the upgrade to the percolator. So there's a heating stone on the bottom.
Okay.
And the heating stone retains the right amount of heat that when it starts to perk, it's not actually making coffee until you tell it to, and the stone retains the right amount of heat to make it perk for 7 minutes exactly.
So
exactly.
pressure builds and then you open the valve?
Yeah. So it'll start to perk, you'll see it, but you'll see that it's just perking water. It's not making coffee.
Oh, it's like not going through the coffee grind.
Right, exactly. So then when you open this, it spreads over the coffee, and voila.
That's pretty insane.
It is.
How do you make it not bitter? How did you get it not bitter?
So
Would you like a little more, by the way?
Yeah. There used to be one way to make coffee, right? So like, there was one way to brew. Now, since coffee's cool, there are a gazillion ways to brew.
Of course.
So no one's really caught up yet in terms of roasting. Everyone still roasts the exact same way. We actually roast for the way that this pot works.
And what's the differentiating factor?
It's roasted in the old world Italian tradition. So my roaster he's literally from Naples, using secrets that have been passed down for like 100 years.
So how does this differ from the small percolator that I bought in Italy and brought back 10 years ago?
So this is for American coffee.
Yeah.
That makes espresso. This actually, the way it works, like it opens up the grinds a little bit, it gets the oils ready. I mean, just the way that it functions is just, you get a different flavor.
So actually, Dad was way ahead of the game on making American coffee good.
Dad was way ahead of the game at making American coffee good. I feel really lucky because it's the perfect immigrant coming to America, New York, city of opportunity. It was part of his journey, and this gave me part of my journey. But the coolest part is that there are 5,000, and that's it. So like, the originals are like little pieces of art.
Oh, they're legit vintage.
Yeah.
Cheers, Elizabeth, thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm gonna get back in the kitchen, let's go.
Sounds good.
Come on.
Chicken stocks and chicken broths, really easy to make. It's a little bit gross when you're doing it, but you should really make use of the bones because you can do so many things with the stock. It's healthier, it's more affordable, and more importantly to me, more delicious.
You need to make your own chicken stock so that you know what is in the broth, and also because it's a far superior product. So what you can do is start with some chicken backs and necks. I bought this from the world's most expensive supermarket and it still only cost $2.50. All right, so we're starting with cold water here because we don't want the fat and impurities from the bones and the meat to come out too quickly, emulsifying with the broth, creating this cloudy, greasy broth. We want something very, very delicate, and in order to do that, we need to start with cold water. So here, actually, let's do the bouquet garni first. we've got our carrot tops. So we got 13 peppercorns, bay, mirepoix in French, sofrito in Italian. A stock is a really great place to start cooking because you don't really need to know measurements and recipes and things like that. You just have to be more of a technician. The most technical thing we're doing so far is starting with our bones in cold water so that we don't emulsify fats into the broth, rendering it inferior. And then you can go boom, boom. Here's an example of impurities and fats coming to the top. This is the stuff that we don't want. So this is something that you need to do every half hour or so. Also, when you're doing this, don't stir. It's gonna have the same effect as boiling the water. It's not so much about the temperature as it is about how quickly the liquid is moving. And we wanna keep everything slow so that we can keep that separation happening and deal with it, right? Right. But I'm gonna gently lower these in so that it doesn't disturb the stock too much. So this is fat right here. You see that? We're only gonna cook this for another 15 minutes or so. It's a great time to put in our bouquet garni. So here we have the tops to our carrots. Here's our bay leaf, our 13 peppercorns. So now we just wanna add some freshness on top. And this is the beautiful thing about making your own stock. You've got these layers of flavor. I know it sounds really cheesy and stuff, but it's true. And what we're gonna do is set up a strainer right on top, which I'm gonna line with paper towel. Fold it over, and that's all we need. Now that our stock has been cooking for basically 4 hours, we can take everything out. So here's a chicken back, a neck, some of the mirepoix or the sofrito, and these are useless. It is garbage now. You could compost this if you live in Brooklyn. So we're gonna filter this now, right through the paper towel. It's amazing how strong paper towel is. Okay. Look at how much we caught. See that? Since we're not adding any more heat, now's a real good time to decide how much salt you want. You know, adding too much before you start cooking is often a big problem because as the liquid evaporates off, it intensifies the saltiness. Here's one way to enjoy your broth instantly. So this is as simple as taking some homemade or store-bought tortellini. They cook so quickly, they cook in 1 minute. You don't even have to boil water. You just cook it right in here. And when they float to the top, they're ready. Oh yeah, that is so ready, it's ridiculous. See how soft that is? Okay. And you can take some pecorino romano. You could take an egg, scramble it up, and then it'll cook in the water. That's called stracciatella, all mixed up. That's great. Let's cool this now. Oh, that's really yummy. Oh, these are like really good little satchels of cheese. It is very important that we cool this as fast as possible. This is a much more reasonable place to throw it in the freezer at, because we've taken the bulk of the heat off. 3. So here we are in the stock market. And you can see we've got some Tex-Mex veggie stock. You're definitely also helping yourself by freezing it in small batches. Really great to have that. There's the stock market.
Baking chicken in the oven at home is one of the easiest ways to get dinner on the table. Slathering it in mayo makes it even better. And if you suffer through the pains of making your own mayo, you'll benefit from a souffle-like outer crust.
Now we're gonna make a really, really easy chicken dinner. And it's basically just cooking chicken in mayo. And a little bit of Dijon if you'd like. You can use a store-bought mayo, that's fine. But we're gonna make some. So the most important thing when making mayo is to have room temperature eggs. These are warm. There's no condensation on them, you can see. If this is cold when you're doing this, you've already lost the battle. All right, so I'm just gonna break up these yolks and just kinda do that. It's not adding the oil in a steady stream, it's adding it a little bit at a time. So there's a little bit. Texture's there. Now a little salt. All right, we're gonna go like this. Look at that.
Oh, that's fun.
So this mayo is going to basically lock in moisture, add moisture, protect the chicken from the heat. Here we have this crazy soufflé-like chicken. Look at the gorgeous brown. All right, so let's try one of these here. Oh, it's juicy. Totally delicious. We'll hit this with some Meyer lemon. Zest. So it's like a tangerine and a lemon combined. It needs potato salad. We're just gonna cut these potatoes so that their surface area is increased and they break apart as soon as possible. And you don't have to worry about washing them or anything because we're gonna ice bath them, rinse them, throw out this water. So you can just break off the ends. Our water's almost boiling. We're gonna put in a good amount of salt. Lowering these potatoes in, and now we're gonna boil these with the top off until they are fork tender. We've got our green beans. We're gonna throw them into, and while we do that, we're gonna prepare an ice bath. It's been 2 minutes on the green beans, and that's fine. Straight into the ice bath here. Stop the cooking. A little bit of fennel seed. You can put it right into the water here. And you throw the parsley right into the water here. We can take it out of the ice bath. And you kind of just mush it. There's our potato salad. We're gonna put a little pepper on it. We're gonna hit it with some olive oil, because that's delicious. All right, so here's a lovely dinner. Boiling the potatoes in salty water makes the salt go through the potato. The string beans are boiled for less than 2 minutes, so they're still crunchy, vibrant, but cooked through. The parsley, the fennel, the olive oil, light and delicious. And we have this here chicken. Let's call it drumstick chicken souffle with iced potatoes and string beans. Your friend Deborah told you all about how you have to be eating kale raw. Well, I'm Frankie, and I'm gonna tell you something great about kale. It really holds up well in a soup, so that you don't have mush after you cook it for such a long time. Take that, Deborah. I don't know why it's called the Tuscan bean soup, probably because they make it in Tuscany. Anyway, the first thing that we're gonna do to this to make it extra special is go to the stock market. Come to the stock market. So here we are in the stock market. And we've got our deer ragu. That's not really a stock. Here's the chicken stock that we made. Blocks of ice. All right, check it out. Hot water on the bag. Look, already loose, you see that? So now it'll slide right out. Perfect. You can just start with olive oil in the pan, but if you have bacon or guanciale, I always think that that's a good idea. Pancetta works as well. Guanciale is a cured pork cheek, basically, and that's all I need. So we're just gonna go into a little baton. It's made very similarly to pancetta, except pancetta is the belly. Pancetta, guanciale. Have that flat side down, although that's a little fatter, so you can have it again, like that. Come in, you know, and then you have pretty even-sized pieces like that. Okay, guanciale. It's kind of ugly in there right now, huh? Oh well. Sorry, folks at home. You know what? This is a real cooking show. We don't hide the fact that maybe I burned something in here last time I used it. I just put a drop of olive oil in here just to help this sort of slide around. Also, when you think about cooking stuff, if there's no oil in the pan, then you have your flat bottom and this piece of guanciale comes in and maybe not all of it is touching the bottom. So that's less surface area of the guanciale touching the pan, which means it's gonna take longer. If you put oil there, then it can kind of go up in all those grooves that maybe wouldn't touch the flat bottom. And that means more of the guanciale is being heated faster, which means that it's gonna render out faster, which is good, that's what we want. It's getting a little black, it's getting some color on it, you see, right? Now I'm gonna come in with the hardest vegetable that we have so far. We don't have any salt or pepper yet. We're just trying to draw moisture out and intensify flavors. Mr. Onion and I have a tumultuous past. So we're gonna cut off the end. This is the end that comes out of the ground and gives you your green onions, okay? We cut that end off because the bulb end, the bottom, this is what's holding the whole thing together, all right? So we wanna hold the whole thing together. Now, weirdly, I'm gonna cut it in half, which sounds like a contradiction to everything I said, but what you realize is that this root is still holding it together. Make sure that this is making sound. Sound is very important in cooking. Cut into it, but not all the way through, so that this part here keeps it all together. And we want to keep it all together so that it is easier for us to cut. Keep your hand out of the way. Every time you make a slice, you should be asking yourself, if I slip, will I cut myself? And the answer should always be no. If it's ever yes, you probably shouldn't go through. Now, when I got to this point here, look, the onion's falling towards me. If I slip, am I gonna cut myself? Yes, I am. So what you do is you just go boop, and now we're back down again, right? You can just go like that, and go like that, and that's it, all right? So here's our kale, and we want to go 2-inch pieces here. We're going to turn the heat up to high, we're going to deglaze. Let's throw in the kale and try and get that to come down a little bit. I'm seeing the supermarkets selling ends of cheese now. This is utter blasphemy, people. They're charging you more per pound. Use the end of your cheese. All right. These are just your standard cannellini beans. This already looks great. We have rich colors. The carrots are deep orange. The kale is vibrant and beautiful. There's just a nice thin layer of oil kind of covering everything from a combination of olive oil and guanciale that is rendered out. So it's always a good idea to bring a frozen stock to a boil, kill anything that might have grown.
Ooh, nice chicken smell.
Beautiful. We're gonna let this cook for a little while. With the top on, break down the cell walls in the kale. I'm not trying to reduce it. We do want a top on. We just want all the flavors to meld. Here's what we got. I'm gonna grate a little pecorino romano in. You can put it on top, but I think cheese. This is a really, really salty cheese that comes from a sheep, and it pretty much makes everything that is Italian inspired taste better. That's a fact.
Rustic.
I mean, it's just a really good soup. There's not a whole lot to say. I mean, that's great. Would everybody like a bowl? Should we take lunch break and everybody have a bowl of soup? How's that sound? Okay, cool. Cut all around.